Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome live from the North Jersey studios. Welcome to episodio number 46 of the Nico Chronicles. It is Thursday evening, May 25th, 2017. This is another episode of the Nico Chronicles. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, as always. I'm your host, the one, the only, Nico Saraceno. I felt like it's been a while since I've been on the air. Although it's only been 7 days. 7 days removed from last episode. And I want to apologize, again, these past couple weeks because we've had issues with our technology. Hopefully I fix it this time around. My laptop actually, which records TNC through the recording software, actually has been it's experiencing issues with the battery in terms of it's heating up and everything like that. So I tried to prop it up actually on like a encyclopedia like book. So right now it feels okay. Hopefully it stays fine. So I will keep you guys posted on that. But thank you guys for tuning in. You may notice I did switch it up a little bit today in terms of I was very anxious to come on and get the show started. So as opposed to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I did come on 2 minutes ahead of schedule, around 8:58ish, I want to say. So for those of you who are expecting me at 9 o'clock, my bad. Sorry about that. I got a little anxious there. But I'll be here for a little while. So yeah, a lot planned for tonight. If you guys follow me on social media, Facebook.com/The Nico Chronicles. Also on Twitter, Twitter.com/Nico Chronicles. And of course, if you guys ever want to chat with me, feel free to dial 701-801-2251 and press 5. That'll put you through and I'll let you on. But a lot going on these past few days, including the Cavaliers right now in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavaliers, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Quick little score update for you guys as I have the TV on in the studio here. 37-22. And I believe it's not even the end of the first quarter. 37-22, 1:56 left in the first quarter. And it's also big because the Cleveland Cavs are playing at the Q. Cleveland Cavs, they're at TD Bank Garden in Boston. So this is a home game for the Celtics. The Celtics absolutely need this one. It's do or die for the Celtics, who are down 3-1. Shout out to my to the fam, my parents, for tuning in to Facebook Live, BT Dubs. But also, happy 6-week birthday to my cute, beautiful niece Enza, who's probably twerking it up right now. Shout out to Enza, 6 weeks old today, which is pretty sick. I got to see her yesterday, which was a lot of fun. We had a little convo. If you guys follow me on social as well, I put up a Instagram picture. We were talking about the weather, her plans for Memorial Day weekend, and yeah, I learned a lot. She's already communicating very well, so that was a lot of fun. But I want to get started. There's a bit of a theme today, and actually I didn't even try. As you see my notes here, I printed a bunch of stuff here. Don't worry, I'm not going to read off of them, so to speak, but shout out to my boy, Victor Cruz. This is pretty big. Victor Cruz, who was a New York Football Giant for 7 years, since 2010. They pick him up off the practice squad, essentially. He signs a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears. Now, this is big because the Bears had some injury issues with Alshon Jeffrey. I don't think he's completely healthy. So they signed him. He's going to have a tough set of receivers to compete with, but nonetheless, it's a big deal because the Bears are the only team he met with. So congratulations to Victor Cruz. And he even said on his Instagram account, that he'll always be a New York Giants supporter for life. And it was a pretty cool picture. He like photoshopped the heck out of it. It's like of him wearing like a Bears uniform, and it was well done. He actually looks pretty good. So shout out to Victor Cruz, who signed that 1-year deal. You know, it was a shame to see the Giants release him, but he was making like $5.3 million last year, which the Giants, it was obviously hurting their salary cap, so they had to let him go. And also, for those of you who do follow the Giants, Sterling Shepard from Oklahoma was the one filling the void for Cruz, because Cruz was battling injuries. Shepard was doing well also. He was producing in the red zone. The rookie, as I said, from Oklahoma, he was playing the slot, and that kind of pushed Victor to the wing, which is not his comfortable point. Pushed him to the far outside, and he's not comfortable there. He's more of a slot receiver. So we'll see how the Bears decide to utilize him. I would envision they use him in the slot, but we'll see. So shout out to Victor Cruz. Cruz. He's gonna be sousing a lot. Hopefully not against the Giants, because that would hurt. But nonetheless, congratulations to Victor Cruz. And also, speaking of the New York Giants, Odell Beckham Jr., their best player, arguably. I mean, I don't think there's much of an argument, but for the sake of argument, Odell Beckham Jr. this past week signs the richest shoe deal in the NFL ever. Who does he sign with? Nike, which is let me get the price for you guys here, shall we? It is for 5 years for approximately like $5 million a year, according to an ESPN article that I'm looking at here. So it'll make Odell the largest brand spokesman for Nike, and he'll be kind of like, I guess, an ambassador too for things outside of football. I don't know if ambassador is the right word, but. And it's kind of funny because the competition between Adidas and Nike is totally real. Because originally Adidas had offered him like this max deal, and Nike had the right to match the offer essentially, and they did. And of course, at that point, it's kind of a coin flip, and I guess the incentives were more convenient for Beckham to take Nike. So that's pretty much what it was. But you know what's kind of funny? I don't know if it's funny, but interesting. Since OBJ is still under his rookie salary or rookie contract, he's set to make about like $1.8 million this coming season, and that's significantly less than what he's going to be making from the shoe deal. It's just like you wouldn't think like an endorsement would pay you more than a salary, but you got to expect once he gets a new contract, he's going to be making bank. But shout out to Odell for doing that. And other notable athletes on Nike include Kevin Durant, LeBron James. So in 2018, once he can get that new contract, it's pretty much estimated that he's going to get paid over $8 million a year. And he could be a free agent in 2019 if the Giants don't franchise tag him. So, interesting to see what's going to happen with OBJ if he does make that $8 million a year. I think he deserves it. I mean, the stats speak for themselves, quite frankly, and you guys can go ahead and go on ESPN and check those out. But the Giants have struggled these past couple of years. You guys remember when Shonda Barber has been on? Towards the end, they did make the playoffs this year, but they start to stumble. The players didn't make plays, quite frankly. They had that whole Miami party with Justin Bieber debacle, where the receivers went and partied before the Green Bay game. We'll never know if that impacted the play, but it's nonetheless the wheels fall off. Giants didn't win the Super Bowl. 31 teams didn't win the Super Bowl, quite frankly, so I guess it was a bust for 31 teams. But the Giants have high expectations, just like any organization. But with the weapons that they had and with the momentum that they had, they were expecting to get to the big game, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. So it is what it is. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if this pushes Odell a little harder. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind, but now the stakes have just been raised, quite honestly. So we'll see what happens with that. We will. Just want to send out a shout out to my sister as well, who commented. My sister Gabby. Dirty Deeks Patel as well, joining in. I see the Facebook Live combo. How you doing, buddy? So that's Giants football news. It is it is the off season for football still, so there's not too much going on. There's voluntary OTAs going on as we speak. Preseason takes place officially in August. I think the mandatory OTAs as well start in July, so I'll keep you guys posted about those. But on to South America, shall we? If you guys remember a few months ago, it might have been more than a few months ago actually, I covered this whole Leo Messi situation where he was appealing charges of tax fraud. And it seemed pretty clear-cut, I think, to many people that he was going to be guilty, but essentially he was delaying the process. Well, anyway, yesterday, the Spanish Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court in May, they pretty much rejected an appeal. So, he's sentenced to 20 months in prison for tax fraud. Okay, so I just want to pull up the numbers here. This is between 2007 and 2009. Total of 7.1 million. Okay? Him and his father, Jorge, were charged to 21 months. His father's sentence was reduced to 15 months. But what's interesting in Spanish law is that neither of them are going to be serving jail time, or at least expected to, because under the law in Spain, any charges under 2 years can be served under probation. And these are tax laws. They're tax violations. I think it's only tax violations. I don't know if it's all violations, but with this charge, he's expected to serve probation. So I don't know how it's going to affect his performance or if it's going to affect his play. But for those of you Messi fans, such as myself and a lot of people out there, he's not going to jail. So sweat off my back, am I right? But it's big news because the World Cup's coming up in 2018. Argentina's struggling to qualify as it is. But, you know, this kind of stuff has happened with athletes. Javier Mascherano, who plays with Messi, coincidentally, he had similar sentencing. I think his was like 1.2 million or something like that, if I remember off the top of my head. But, yeah, same kind of deal. And it just makes you wonder, is it that these athletes get greedy? Is that what happens? That they have to go through all this tax evasion baloney here? Because it's got to be greed. These guys are... Messi, for example, is the highest paid player on Barcelona. And Barca is a prestigious team, not only in Europe, but in the world. Definitely, I think, top 5 soccer team. Not that I'm a pro when it comes to professional soccer, but I think I know that much. You know, it's them, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, maybe Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City. I think those teams are all in the top 10, to say the least. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Messi if this, in fact, affects his play. I mean, he seems rather unfazed as of now, so I'm doubting it, but I mean, let's just look at his resume real quick. 8 La Liga titles, 4 Kings Cups, 4 Champions League crowns, Top scorer in Spain this season with 37 goals. Not too shabby. Next Saturday in Madrid, Kings Cup final, which is the last game of the regular season, and that's pretty much it. But his current deal is expiring next year, actually, so June 2018. It's going to be interesting if he gets even more money. Because there's been a lot of rumors circulating these past couple years, that he could go to Manchester City. And I think they even said Man U. A bunch of European teams are rumored to have an interest in Messi. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I don't think there's a rumor that they're interested. It's just a rumor that they're actually going to trade for him. Because he's an extremely expensive player with a high price tag. You know, rightfully so. Him and Cristiano Ronaldo, I think, are on the same tier. I mean, I would put Messi probably slightly higher. But, you know, they're 2 superstars. It's like Kevin Durant and LeBron James of the NBA. I think it's fair to make that comparison, right? I hope so. So Messi and his father getting off easy. I don't know exactly what the probation will consist of, but maybe community service perhaps, or some other. I'm sure Messi's got good lawyers. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make that work. So we'll see. In other news, in other South American news actually, why don't we just stick to the Argentina theme, shall we? One of my favorite players, who I admit he's actually not on the wall behind me or in my room at all, or aka the North Jersey studios. He's not here, but one of my favorite players, my boy, in Manu Ginobili, number 20 of the San Antonio Spurs. Still on the Spurs as of now. Did he play his last game this week? For those of you who missed it, the San Antonio Spurs were officially eliminated from the Western Conference Finals, from the NBA playoffs, by the Golden State Warriors, might I add, who made history by being the first team ever to go 12-0 in the postseason so far. Are they going to finish the playoffs a perfect 16-0? Unlikely. Because you got to assume that they face Cleveland, unless Boston pulls off a miracle here. But you got to assume they face Cleveland. Cleveland's going to give them a run for the money at the very least. I don't want to get into it too much right now, but I think quite possibly the Cavs are going to take at least one game. It's not going to be a sweep. And if it is, there's something wrong with the NBA, especially with it being the NBA Finals. I mean, come on. So, the Spurs were eliminated, back to my original point. The Spurs were eliminated with all the storylines. Kawhi Leonard was out with the ankle injury. Tony Parker with the leg injury. Ginobili was starting, actually. Him and Patty Mills. Actually, he was coming off the bench for the most part. Danny Green and Patty Mills were the two guys playing. But last game, Ginobili does actually start the game. And you know what's interesting? This was the first time, practically ever. I don't want to say ever because that's not true, but he hasn't started a game since 2004. So that was pretty cool. And when he checked out of the game with about 2 minutes left, he got a huge standing ovation from San Antonio. Steph Curry, from the San Antonio crowd, I should say. Steph Curry, who was actually at the charity stripe, it was a pretty classy move because he could have probably asked for the ball and continued his free throws. But he chose, when Ginobili was checking out, he chose to let that moment simmer a little bit. In terms of, he let that moment kind of play out. And it was nice. It was a pretty emotional moment. And the crowd started cheering, Manu, Manu. And Popovich being Popovich, you can see him asking Ginobili if he wants to go back in. And Ginobili's like, nah, I'm good. People forget, but this guy's 39 years old, Ginobili. So he's up there with the oldest guys. Vince Carter, who's 40, I think. Dirk Nowitzki, I believe, is 39 as well. Pierce is 39, and he did retire this year. So if Ginobili stays in the league, he's in the top 5 of oldest people. Probably top 2 or 3. And I was going through his stats today when I was doing a little bit of show prep. And Sports Nation, that ESPN show, did a nice little article about him, where they did a nice little poll and they kind of described his resume. The guy's got 4 NBA titles. Okay? And Mackie, you did read my mind, Ryan Mackie. Let me tell you why I think Ginobili should be a Hall of Famer. I know Hall of Fame, you have to have the titles. You got to have this impressive stat line. You have to be practically, impressive to say the least. But I think there's different levels because everybody impacts the game in different ways, whether it's the charisma, the energy, the rebounds, the blocks, offensively, defensively, what have you. Ginobili, undeniably, unquestionably, was the soul of the Spurs for the past 13 years since he joined the Spurs in 2004, I think. So as I was saying, 4 NBA titles. The dynasty was formed with Timmy D, Bruce Bowen, Tony Parker. Robert Horry was even there, in between that somewhere. Guys, the Spurs have been a consistent team, a consistent playoff team, since I was 5. I mean, 2004 I was 12. I started really watching the NBA in 2003, so I can't really speak too much before that, but since the early 2000s, I remember the Nets went to the finals. I think it was 2003 against them. It was the Lakers, either '03 or '04. It was Lakers and Spurs in those 2 years. So either '03 and '04. That's really when it all started. But Ginobili's got 4 rings, okay? He's been selected to the NBA third team twice. Since he did come off the bench most of his career, 2008 he was voted Sixth Man of the Year, which was awesome. And people forget this, but he did play in Argentina and Italy as well. Actually, he won 2 Italian League MVPs, 2001, 2002. The EuroLeague championship in 2001. And this gets me so excited just talking about it, but do you guys remember? This is going way back. It feels like forever ago, but the 2004 Olympics. Do you guys remember who won the gold that year? I'll give you a hint. It was not the U.S. Rather, it was Argentina. Playing the position of spoiler, everyone doubted them that game. Yeah, 89-81 was the final score. And if you guys go to YouTube, actually, they have the full games, which is awesome. I didn't have the chance to watch the full game, but I saw the highlights today. It was pretty crazy. You should see Luis Scola. The guy looks exactly the same. I mean, he's got less wrinkles, but the same length of hair. Scola is still in the NBA, by the way. He's got to be mid-30s at least. But Argentina had a good team. Well, now they're still good, but they can't keep up with the U.S. anymore in basketball. They're probably a top 5 team. But that game was insane. And the U.S. has always been good, obviously. It's the dream team. I guess it's been this dream team since Jordan and Magic Johnson and all those guys were there. But the U.S. at that time, Allen Iverson was in his prime, Stephon Marbury, KG was there. A bunch of these guys who aren't even playing in the league anymore were there, and they were dominant. I think Vince Carter was there too. That was a hell of a game. So Argentina wins the gold that year. U.S. wins the silver medal, which was an upset in their eyes because they have such high expectations. But what many people forget, I think, and I remember being on vacation when I saw this game, was in the semifinal game before that game. So Argentina was facing off against Serbia and Montenegro. I'll start backwards. Argentina won that game, 83-82. But Mr. Ginobili, Manu, as the clock expired, hits a running left-handed shot, about a 4-foot jump shot, fading away, fading to his right and falling down. The angle was practically impossible. He sinks it as time expired. Off the rebound, off a free throw, they hit it to him, and he literally hits it with no time left on the clock. One of the best games I've ever seen. Also because I was rooting for Argentina, and I wasn't expecting that game to finish the way it did. Because that was a 1-point game. If Serbia-Montenegro makes one more free throw, who knows what could have happened? Maybe Argentina didn't even make it to the gold medal game. That semifinal game could have gone to OT, and who the heck knows? It's hard to really tell what happens, but Argentina ends up winning the gold medal, guys, in '04. Partly because of Ginobili, who still had hair back then. If you guys saw that when I was posting the announcement for the show today, for episode 46, I put up a picture, I thought it'd be interesting, of Ginobili with the long hair. That must have been 2003, 2004 when he just came into the NBA. You guys should see that. It's pretty beautiful. I don't know what happened after that. He started balding right here, and right now his head is practically shaved. I'm assuming he just shaved it just to be consistent because of his hairline. Or I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him when I see him next time. Who knows, right? But he's changed a lot. I mean, that was 13 years ago, so he was 26 back then. So, interesting. So, 4-time NBA champ, gold medal winner in '04. Third all-time on the San Antonio Spurs with 992 games played. Points, he's number 5, 13,467. Assists, 3,838, which is 5th all-time on the Spurs. And this is impressive. I was kind of shocked by this also. He's 2nd all-time on the Spurs with 1,349 steals. wow. I mean, just wow. You gotta respect that. And this is all, guys, this is... If it's a starter, I'd be shocked. This guy's coming off the bench and doing this kind of work. A veteran. You know, and you just love those guys. Coaches love these kind of players that are able to do whatever it takes to help the team win. He didn't complain. I mean, we don't know, at least in public, with the media, he didn't complain about coming off the bench. He knew he would be better suited, or he knew this was the best position to be in to help the team win, quite honestly. And that's what he did. You gotta respect that. I gotta commend you, Manu, because you're the man. Doing this as a sixth man, or you know, sometimes even further down the bench, kind of reminds me of a modern day Andre Iguodala. Although Iguodala, he does start more for the Warriors. He's not a consistent starter, but when needed, when they need the spark, he starts sometimes. So Iguodala is the same way. He's the same way. He doesn't mind if Coach Kerr or Coach Brown has him coming off the bench, because he knows it's going to help them execute. And, you know, and you got to remember, the first unit's going to need a break eventually, so that second unit, it's going to need a spark. That's pretty much what it is. And he brings that every night. And he brings the energy, too. Like, you could feel it. So, shout out to Andre also. But I just wanted to make the case for Manu, because a lot of people are saying otherwise. They think his stats need to be better. But the titles he's got, how many people can say they got 4 rings? I mean, really, come on. Not many. And to fill up the career stat line, at least on the Spurs with that. And this guy was playing, as I said, he played in Italy and Argentina for a couple of years. Could you imagine what his stats would be if he came straight to the NBA like in 2001? It would be crazy. It would not even be fair. So, that's interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. But, yeah, I just wanted to update you guys that my laptop shut down again. So that's pretty cool. That's good stuff. So I thought I was doing good, but anyway. Quick score update. Cavaliers are running away with this one. It's now the second quarter from Boston. 64-48. Just over 5 minutes to go in the second half. Did you guys see Game 5? Kyrie Irving, West Orange native. This was just insane. I was watching this. Okay, so the Cavs are down 16 in that game, heading into the third quarter. And into the fourth, I believe, too. They end up coming all the way back, but Kyrie Irving, in that third quarter, 21 points. And what's even more impressive, that he tweaks his ankle. He lands on a Boston defender going to the basket. He tweaks his ankle, sits there for about 2 minutes on the floor, like yelling in pain pretty much. Then he gets up. I gotta assume it's some sort of adrenaline rush, adrenaline boost. He gets up, makes the free throw, plays a majority of the fourth quarter, and finishes with a beautiful 42 points. And this doesn't even shy away from LeBron. I mean, it took the pressure off LeBron, but LeBron had a quiet, I guess you could say, 34. So, you do the math there. So that's 76 points. Kevin Love, too, 17 points. A monster double-double. 17 points, 17 rebounds. It's like, wow. So 76 plus 17, what is that, 93? So the big three was, in fact, big. They combined for 93 points. So, heck of a game. So, with that kind of production, you got to assume it's an automatic Cavs W. So, yeah, Game 5, Cavs looking to close this one out. And if it does end tonight, it's a little bit painful because today's May 25th. It's going to be hard to wait. I'm going to go into a bit of a NBA playoff withdrawal. Because Game 1 of the NBA Finals, no matter how many games this series goes, Game 1 of the NBA Finals is going to start June 1st. So that is a week from today, because there's 31 days in May. That's 6 plus 1. Yeah. June 1st is going to be Thursday, June 1st. Oh my gosh, 1 week. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I don't know if I'm going to watch Netflix. I don't know what I'm going to do because, as you guys know, I don't really follow hockey too much. But nonetheless, we'll see. I'll find a way to survive. Maybe I'll watch some like highlights. I'll watch some like LeBron James montages or something. Maybe some Manu Ginobili highlights, over his career. One of those, maybe that Olympic game I'll watch. We'll see. We'll see if I'm feeling nostalgic or not. I'll see what I'm feeling. I'll try to be spontaneous. But, let's just cross that bridge when we get there, shall we? Let's just enjoy the NBA for what it is. One of the best sports out there, in my opinion, besides American football. Soccer is also a beautiful game. I personally are into that, when it comes to the World Cup. But, to each his own, right? Right. So, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 46. It's been a blast with you guys, despite my technology issues that are continuing to be ongoing here. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week, next Thursday, same time, same place for episode 47. Until then, ladies and gents, I wish you guys a fabulous rest of this Thursday evening. Have yourselves a fabulous, awesome Memorial Day. Okay, be smart, be safe, drive safe. Don't drink and drive, get a double D. Do what you gotta do to be safe. I love you guys very much. Have yourselves a good night, and take care.